Hello, Internet, and welcome to SonyCentric, the Outerhaven's official PlayStation podcast. I'm your host, Jason Kwasnicki. I'm joined by our co-host, Mark Sullivan.
How's it going?
And to my virtual left, the lovely Delaila Lugo.
What's up, everyone?
SonyCentric is turning the big 3-0 today. That's right, this is episode number 30. We're mature now. This podcast is mature.
I feel like I'm getting too old.
Podcast is almost as old as me.
God.
Come on.
I'm so sorry.
Come on, Delilah, you're giving too much away. You want to use that shroud of the internet.
My bad.
Tell everybody you're... No, you don't want to tell everybody you're 17. You want to say you're 18. You're legal, but still young.
I'm 12.
Oh, God.
Anyway,
Anyway,
folks, your
folks.
favorite game is Call of Duty, right?
Anyway, folks, today we're going to start off with a little segment I like to call What Are We Playing? Mark,
What are you
keep
playing?
it short, keep it sweet. What are you playing?
I mean, yeah, I've been... So, just to get a little bit of a insight into my personal life, I recently moved out to a new apartment, so I kind of haven't had too much time to play much the past week. But I did manage to squeeze in some Overwatch lately.
Nice. You've been playing with the new character?
Congrats.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, that's something we could bring up real quick. Anna did drop last week, not only on PC, but actually dropped on consoles pretty shortly after. I have been playing a little bit of Anna. I like her, but I'm not very great with her. Just like I'm not very great with Widowmaker either, and they both have long-range sniper rifles, so it's just not my playstyle. I'm not the best at it. But overall, I do like her as a character.
What a scrub. Not good with Widowmaker. I got both
Oh,
trophies.
man.
I got both of them. I got an aerial
Hey,
headshot.
Whoa. Hey, I got that too. I got that last week.
Delilah probably had both of those
day.
trophies while we were still hunting them, before we even knew they were
I
trophies.
know, man. She's beating both our asses when it comes to the trophies in that fucking game.
Yes, I have both
She
Widowmaker trophies.
Yeah,
probably
we all
had
do.
them like before the game even came out.
The game-
They just gave them to her as a courtesy. They just knew how good she was.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So, Delilah, what have you been playing?
I've been cycling through Overwatch, quick plays on my road to platinum, and some competitive when I have the right team. I played a little bit with Anna. I do like her as a character, but I also suck as her. But I think, if I play more as her, I might get into it. But I'm not into, like, the sniper thing, so, I'll
Right.
never play her in competitive.
It's not your
unless
playstyle.
Somehow, miraculously, I get good with her. I've also been playing Pokemon Go when I'm outside, which I tried to do in the summer. And I'm on my road to platinum for Doom as well. I'm about halfway through.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, a quick
Yeah.
question for both of you, since you've been playing Overwatch. How do you feel now that competitive is, there's no more hero stacking? How does that affect the game?
I love
Amazing.
it. So much better now that you can't stack heroes.
I haven't jumped back in since they updated it with Anna, so I haven't even touched any of this new stuff.
We'll have to do that because competitive is so much better now.
Sounds awesome.
In my opinion.
Sounds awesome. For my part, I have been engaged in some deep JRPG love. I've been playing I Am Setsuna, which you can check out my review on the Outerhaven website at www.theouterhaven.net.
Plugs on plugs on plugs.
Plugs. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It had a few flaws here and there, but overall, it had an awesome story. It had great character. Well, not awesome, but like a well-written story, good characters that were endearing, and really fun battle system. So I recommend it to anybody who digs games, older JRPGs like Chrono Trigger, old school Final Fantasy like Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy VI, Super Nintendo, early PlayStation RPGs. And actually, just before this recording, I was jumping back in for some Destiny. Who would have thought?
Oh, Jason.
Oh.
Hey man,
Oh,
you
no.
be playing that Final Fantasy Record Keeper. Shut the hell up and go watch that video I shared. Everything wrong with Final Fantasy 13.
Oh, I do need to watch that.
There's 3 parts to it. That's how bad it is.
Oh, get out of here.
No, but I mean, I'm actually pretty juiced about Destiny right now. Just before I got on for this recording, I unlocked a new chess piece. So my chess piece is finally at light level 319,
Wait,
which means
a new chess piece, like
yes,
what was it?
like a shirt, but it has armor on it.
Bishop, a
Yes.
knight. Like, you gonna go get checkmate? That chess piece.
Bad joke, folks. Sorry, we'll edit.
Oh, come on.
Oh my goodness.
No, just kidding. I'll keep it in just for you, Mark. Delaila, I really feel like since you said you were pretty into Destiny for a while before you absolutely were out, I think you should get back in.
Yeah, I don't know. That game did too many. I respect the game. I do. It's a very well crafted game. It's ambitious. It does something most games don't do. But the time and the attention that game requires, I can't do it.
See, it's nice now though with the recent April update that they did to it, and all the updates that they've done in the second year with the expansion. I feel like I had as opposed to the first year, where yes, you're right. In year 1, even with the DLC that came out, you definitely had to put in a lot of time to get out like a satisfactory amount of progress. Here, I feel like I've been jumping in and playing Destiny in between games that I'm looking forward to, and each time I'm making like incremental amounts of progress that are satisfying in that play session and like allow me to keep jumping back in. You know, I feel like they've kind of hit that stride, at least as far as this first installment of Destiny goes. I don't know though, that's just my opinion.
That's good. Do you feel like that you're more behind than people that have been continuously playing, or do you feel like you're like right there?
So the max light level right now is 335, and my current light level is, I just hit 317. So, you know, that's a little under 20, that's 18, and a gap of 18 light level points. However, it doesn't make a huge difference, especially in terms of competitive PvP events like Iron Banner, which is going on right now, where light level actually matters in multiplayer. Like, I do a significant, like, the damage difference between what my opponents who are like 334, 335, the difference between what they deal to me versus how much damage I can put out towards them isn't that significant. And at this point in the game, I'm very close to being able to like solo endgame content like the Prison of Elders challenge, which is exciting for me as a solo player, where, you know, there's never really been endgame stuff that you could solo in Destiny. So, you know, I feel like they've adjusted everything so that nobody is ever really too far behind, because the game is now with the new loot system they just put in April, everybody is getting loot according to what their light level is.
Okay, that's good. I'm just, like, my fear always for Destiny, I always felt like I had to grind prior to expansion to be able to, like, do, like, the strikes and the raids and stuff like that, because you had to be a certain light level to do those things. And I was just wondering if that's something that applied here as well.
No, I feel like they really have hit their stride with the latest update, and the game, for me at least, is more fun than ever. I mean, granted, I still only jump in for, like, you know, one night I'll play for, like, you know, 4 or 5 hours, and then that's it for, like, a month, you know, but still, it's nice to jump back in every now and again, and that's what I'm playing.
Alright.
We're all having fun with all those games. Again, Overwatch is kind of a bit overrepresented here. Overwatch is dominating the charts, according to NPD. And that brings us to the news. What was that, Mark?
Segue.
Yeah, segue to the news. So everybody shut up, be quiet. I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story, and I need you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Who handed it to you?
NPD handed it to me.
Oh.
Straight from the source.
Whoa.
So the PlayStation 4, yet again, for 8 months in a row, was the highest selling console in the month of June. Obviously, we don't have exact numbers because nobody gives them anymore. However, Sony did decide to confirm NPD's reports that they were, quote-unquote, in the lead. And this comes in the face of the fact that when comparing this past month of June with June of last year, there was a 42% drop in console sales. So, exact numbers, last June, $313 million worth of consoles were sold, compared with last month, 181 million in sales. So, big drop, but Sony managed to still maintain that lead that they've maintained for the majority of this console generation. I was not surprised by this. What about you guys?
I'm utterly appalled. No, I'm not surprised at all.
Not surprising.
Moving on.
Good talk, good talk.
GameStop CEO Paul, I believe this is pronounced Raines, might have revealed the release window for Sony Neo, or PlayStation Neo, I'm sorry.
So it's a whole new company,
yeah,
actually.
I know, right? It's a whole new console that sits side by side with PlayStation. The Sony PlayStation and the Sony.
This is a joke, by the way, but please don't take us literally. Anybody.
Yes. So Raines, in an interview, basically was talking about how consumers could look forward to both the Xbox One S and PlayStation Neo this fall, kind of bundling them together. And this was kind of taken as a leak that, GameStop knows something that we don't, which they probably do. Obviously, later on, GameStop came out and tried to walk that back, saying, he was just speaking in general terms. He wasn't specifically saying that PlayStation Neo was coming out in the fall. Take from that what you will. I mean, it kind of sounds like PR bullshit, like, oh, we just messed up. Let's reel that back in.
It sounds like he said something that he wasn't supposed to say it, and it honestly matches up with reports that we've heard before that, the PlayStation Neo, whatever it may be, is going to be launching side by side with PlayStation VR this fall. So yeah, he probably just messed up by saying what he shouldn't have said yet.
Right.
I have absolutely no doubt that that's happening, even though that I think it's totally kind of weird that we still have not heard or seen what that thing is, and PlayStation VR comes out October 13th in North America. That's under 3 months from now.
Scary.
That is kind of terrifying that we
buckling
don't know
in my
what
boots.
the system is. It's supposedly still coming out this year.
So, from what we know, I won't say no, from what we could speculate, based on a lot of these reports that were coming out a few months before E3, it was like April, May, the PlayStation Neo is supposed to be intended to buff up the power of the PS4 incrementally, specifically to help boost VR performance.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of speculation post E3, given the reveal of the Xbox Scorpio, or Project Scorpio, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That Sony may be rethinking those plans. I don't know, Delaila, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that we haven't heard anything because Sony is indeed rethinking those plans? Do you think they're just trying to undersell the PlayStation Neo to avoid that the power comparison between Neo and Scorpio?
Oof, I'm bad at like making predictions about stuff like that, but
I know, that's why you lost our E3 episode.
Yeah.
That's why
Not by much,
why
right?
somebody
I'm
here
second
won.
place. Give me some credit.
Yeah, you did pretty well, actually.
Jason's being savage, man. Wow.
Hey man,
I honestly
winner's
thought,
right.
Like, I honestly thought that they didn't talk about it because they wanted to improve it, and if it's coming out in fall, that's really not giving much room for improvement at all.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
Yeah. Now, if this is true, it might be coming out around in fall. Even if it comes out around the holidays, then yeah, maybe they are trying to avoid all that comparison. Because Microsoft went hard this year with their hardware talk.
Them high quality pixels?
The highest quality pixels.
Which makes no fucking sense.
Seen.
That's
Jason,
like saying...
Whoa. Don't talk shit on the highest quality pixels that you've ever seen.
No, I'm talking shit because that's a pure PR line. You realize, that's like saying these are the highest quality circles you've ever seen.
Joke's on you. You'll never see the highest quality pixels now.
No, but I agree with Delaila that at first, following E3, I believed that they were actually going to push that release date in an attempt to maybe revamp, or they might have even just decided to break away from the original plan, but I guess things might have been more locked in than we thought. I mean, time will tell. Honestly, if I were them, I would just put it out as is and try to undersell it. Don't sell it as in the way that Xbox is currently selling their new platform as the next leap. Highest quality pixels and 6 teraflops, things that sound impressive.
All the teraflops.
But if I was Sony, I would try to undersell it and just be like, hey, this goes good with VR.
Just walk out there and be like, here's we got this new box. It's cool. Plug your headset into it. Whatever. It's like no big deal. Like, what? Totally go casual on this?
Well, I mean, by undersell it, I mean don't try to position it as like the next jump in the same way that the Scorpio is.
Just make the tagline as PlayStation Neo. It's all right, I guess. That on the box. No, I'm kidding.
You're right. I mean, the PlayStation VR, people that are trying it right now are really praising it a lot. So maybe they just don't feel the need to hype it up, and they're just like, you know what? This is gonna help the PlayStation VR. They're gonna go hand in hand. Let's just do it, and like, don't even worry about all this like dank information that Microsoft is putting on their new hardware.
Oh shit!
Delaila just dropped some.
Dropped the dank of the episode.
Dank, yeah.
One thing that's kind of I just thought about is the fact that if this is something that's going to be, that it's being made with the need or with PlayStation VR in mind, PlayStation VR pre-orders have sold out every single time they've had a wave. Like, there's definitely demand for this, and they still have not really announced this console. It's concerning solely because what if this does release and it does not? We got that report and we talked about it on the show episode way before about that exec or that person that said it ran like a nightmare or something. It ran like crap on the launch PS4.
Yeah.
That's a little nerve-wracking that they have not announced this new system, because what if all these people, these millions of people that are purchasing VR on day one, and they find out they basically need to get a new system. They haven't been told yet. When we just need to know what this box is by now. Like, it's time.
Yeah, I mean, we've only known about this for a few months. I can only imagine how Nintendo fans feel with the NX.
Oh God, yeah. Well.
So, if you didn't know, right now San Diego Comic-Con is going on. Is it still going on? I think it's still going on. It's not over yet,
today,
is it?
The day of recording is the last day.
Got it.
At the time of recording, yeah, Comic-Con is probably wrapping up right about now.
Got it. Well, one of the things to come from San Diego Comic-Con was the announcement that Marvel Ultimate Alliance, a bundle of both 1 and 2, will be released on July 26th for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Obviously, we only really care here about PlayStation 4.
Who even has a PC anyway?
Most of us do, because we're recording on computers.
God, you're not supposed to say that. God.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance, if you are unaware that there was a game called such, was kind of a... I don't want to say a Diablo... Yeah, it was kind of a Diablo-esque action RPG, where there was 4-player local co-op, and you could play as different heroes, do combination attacks. There was like 20-plus characters you could choose from. It's kind of a cult classic in many ways, and people have been asking for it for a while. So that's a neat release. I don't know. I might actually be looking into this. I don't know. Got to check that wallet while it's running a bit thin, but I think this is nice, and I think Marvel is kind of, with the Spider-Man reveal for the PlayStation 4 back at E3, with this reveal, you never know. They might be working on another Ultimate Alliance, given there's still a lot of love for those titles. I think Marvel is really going to start ramping up focus on the video game sector, building a universe there. What are your guys' thoughts? Are you excited about this?
I mean,
it's coming out Tuesday, right?
Yeah, July 26th. I should have said this upcoming Tuesday, but
yeah.
At the time of you listening to this episode, it's probably out.
Yeah, it actually came out yesterday for those listening to this.
Come out yesterday, right?
Yeah, I mean, I never really played those games, but I've seen and heard nothing but good things about them, and I have a couple of people in my life convincing me that I should get this game to play with them. So maybe, but it's just hard right now, with all that's going on in my life at the moment. But I might eventually just dabble into it and cave.
Yeah.
My thing about this... Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
All I was going to say was I never owned it myself on the PS2, but I did play it. My cousin had it, I remember. And I remember it being very similar to, if you've ever played Champions of Norath. That's a personal favorite of mine on the PlayStation 2. Very similar in the way the multiplayer works.
Just to give this... I don't know, just to compare this to something that's actually in existence today and constantly updated to my knowledge. I can't speak to how either of these games play, but it's interesting that they're putting this game out when there's another Marvel Diablo-esque action RPG that's constantly going on PC, Marvel Heroes. I'm simply saying that just because I guess Marvel Ultimate Alliance, they're putting them out, for the people that don't play on PC, the people that are looking for nostalgia on these games. But if I will plug just that if you kind of thing you like and you want something that's ongoing, Marvel Heroes does exist.
I think one of the big draws of this, though, and I'm not sure because I've never played Marvel Heroes, but what is the roster like with Heroes? Do you know? Because I know in Ultimate Alliance, it's literally everybody. It's X-Men, Avengers, Defenders, Fantastic Four, and I'm assuming they're publishing these games as they were, so it's everybody interacting with each other.
So I know Marvel Heroes is free to play. I think it's like one of those things where as time goes on, they update it with new characters and stuff. I don't know. I can't speak to the roster.
I'm more speaking to, because obviously there's the issue of who owns the rights to what. Now I don't know if that applies to video games or not. I know it was somewhat of an issue. Well, people thought it would be an issue with Spider-Man, but obviously that worked out.
That definitely worked out. But yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there because that once I've never played Ultimate Alliance, never really knew much about it. But once you told me it was an action RPG like Diablo, I'm like, wait, isn't there a modern game that's a lot like that? So,
yeah, and it's cool for. I'm hoping that this release will maintain the couch co-op of the original. I'd be disappointed if it didn't. Oh
yeah, that's awesome. Because couch co-op is very rare.
It's all on the same screen, so
it's just a rare type of game. You don't find it as much, and those are really fun.
Speaking of old games coming back, Grandia 3 is being released on the PlayStation 3, not the PlayStation 4, mind you, just the PlayStation 3 under the PlayStation 2 Classics banner.
Grand.
Yeah, no, it's not grand indeed. Yeah.
Haha.
Yeah, so it's not being up-rendered or anything in 1080p. It's $10 digital, and it's coming out on PlayStation 3. I believe this week. I'll look it up further. So, this is unfortunate, because I actually would have played this if it came out on the PlayStation 4. And it's just kind of, and I want to build this up into a bigger conversation to cap off this show. PlayStation 2 on PlayStation 4, it seems more to me, looking at the lineup, and Mark, I think you got this lineup up on your screen.
I do indeed. I'm locked and loaded and ready to go.
It seems more to me, that's my co-host, there it goes. It seems more to me like a Rockstar Classics collection than just a PlayStation 2 generally Classics collection.
Yeah.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only games that aren't Rockstar games on there, it's like Dark Cloud 2, Dark Cloud, Rogue, Galaxy.
I'll launch into this right now. So right now I have the list of PlayStation 2 games for PS4 up. There are 32 games on the list. 3 of them are currently unreleased so far. Things like Ape Escape 2, Ape Escape 3, and Fahrenheit, Quantic Dream's first game. Those are yet unreleased, but they're on this list because we know they're coming. So, out of the 32 games, 29 that are currently out, 13 of them have been published and or developed by Rockstar. Rockstar Games or the developer, Rockstar Vancouver, Rockstar North. Basically everything, there's 13 games on here that have Rockstar's name attached to them.
Okay, so it's not as bad as I thought. I was speaking a bit in hyperbole. I didn't even realize there were 32 games already out.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I miscounted. I'm very, very sorry about that.
Come on,
There's
Mark.
actually 7 games. 7, but that's still not that. That's still, it's a little less than what I thought, but that's still quite a big chunk of the games.
Come on.
All right,
Yeah.
well, I corrected myself.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when they originally announced that PlayStation 2 on PlayStation 4, the whole everything's up-rendered to 180p, there are trophies. Obviously, I understand there are licensing issues. You got to set up the trophies in the PlayStation Network, and you got to get somebody to up-render it. I understand there's work to be done there, but I just didn't think it would be so sparse,
Yeah,
Like,
it would have been nice if, because this was a pretty well received announcement. Like it's unfortunate that it's not on par with Microsoft's initiative with backwards compatibility,
because this is PS4's backward compatibility,
right? And it's somewhat lacking in that regard. But it still garnered some sort of positive reception. On a personal note, like the fact that I got to play Psychonauts through again and get a platinum trophy on that and play it with slightly better graphics with a DualShock 4 and everything. Like I was thrilled to be able to do that. It would be nice to be able to do that with more games from the PlayStation 2 era.
Let me just correct myself real quick, actually. So, PlayStation 4 is, if you really want to talk backward compatibility, I guess you would say PlayStation Now.
Right.
Is that? I should have mentioned that. But they got a whole catalog of PS3 games, which is actually pretty robust at this point. It's just pretty pricey for a subscription.
It's also been around a lot longer.
Yeah.
But that being said, this has been around for enough time where I feel like we should, like, if they were dedicated to this service, they were dedicated to this, to this platform, so to speak. It's disappointing to see the roster we have now and wonder, how much better could this actually be?
Right. Especially when you consider the huge catalog of PS1 and PS2 classics on the PlayStation 3. It's hard to imagine what's standing in the way of just, bringing them. I get there's licensing that has to go on. If you're up-rendering them, there is some work that goes into that and trophies and whatnot, but...
Well, even to think back, this was years ago, and nothing ever came of it. There was like some sort of patent that someone found that Sony put out there to add some sort of code to PlayStation 1 games so that once an event triggers in the games, it could unlock a trophy, which would be a way of rolling back on PS1, PS2 classics and adding trophy support to them, like a simplified way.
Right.
It's kind of complicated now with these PlayStation 2 for PS4 games, solely because they are spending time to up-res and do a little bit of touch-up work to them. But if they just start churning out PS1 games they did on PS3 for PS4, and I don't even know that they have to really port it. They can somehow build some sort of on-board emulator. But if they start doing that and that patent actually comes true, like, I have a whole nother reason to start playing all those Final Fantasy games I own as PS1 classics.
I was just about to say the same thing. Like, I had all the PS1 Final Fantasies and like the remastered ones and Chrono Trigger and all that stuff on PS3. Like,
hell, I have Symphony of the Night, Silent Hill, all the Crash games, all the Spyro games. Like, it would give me a whole new reason to replay these games I loved as a kid, and not to mention play them on my PS4.
Now, granted, this is from our perspective, where I have heard voices on the internet who say, I'm happy with what they've given us with PS2 to PS4. I think it's done what it needed to do. I got all the games I wanted. I got my Grand Theft Auto games and when, like, for me, PlayStation 2 was my favorite console of all time. I believe it had one of the best libraries of all time. So I want, like, everything from, give us Jak and Daxter, give us the old Ratchet and Clank, to,
I think the biggest problem when it comes to games when it comes to most big games on PS2 was we already got
collections on the PlayStation 3.
Right, and I believe most of those are available on PS Now as rentals.
Yeah, I'm sure with the exclusives they are, but like the niche stuff like Katamari Damacy, is it Damacy or Damacy?
I believe it's Damacy.
Damacy. But
and you call yourself a fan.
Hey man, just because you speak Japanese doesn't give you the right to stomp all over the host.
Oh,
It's unwarranted.
Ooh.
I'll demote you, you know. Delaila can be co-host. I know she wants it.
No.
She's gunning for it.
Anyway, yeah, but like, you know, little titles like that came out that, you know, obviously that's an example of one that did kind of become a franchise, but like it's kind of blown out into the wind. Bring it back. Bring back that original title. There's so much. I was just talking before about Champions of Norath, which was like a kind of Diablo-esque version of EverQuest. Like, that game was awesome. Bring it back. I had a column about this where, you know, every week I talked about a different game. This was back when they first announced it. Yeah, it was called Bring It Back. There were so many games that I wanted to see, and it just seems like, obviously, Grand Theft Auto, those were bestsellers. I see why they kind of came out first, because why wouldn't they sell? But I feel like this is just such a missed opportunity. I don't know, Delaila, what do you think?
I mean, I'm not the kind of gamer that, you know, goes back to games really. When they do get remastered, sometimes I do it just because it looks better, but sometimes when I go back to these games, I'm like, oh my god, it looked like shit, it plays like shit. But trophies, playing on a PS4, if I feel like I want to be a little nostalgic, like you said, PS2 has a huge library, some of the best games. Might even get some like Xbox people to come and get a PS4 because a lot of gamers had a PlayStation 1 and a PlayStation 2. It's a great thing regardless if that's something that I'm gonna get into or not. And whether they have more or less, I mean, more is obviously always better, but I don't see the rush for it. Like if they can maybe come out with more, that will be good eventually, but I think like the heavy hitters now is good enough, to me.
Oh, come on. Tell me you wouldn't want to play Burnout 3 Takedown again and get trophies for it.
I would. Don't get me wrong. I would. I would want to get trophies for so many PlayStation 2 games, but I mean, you know, GTA was like the shit back then, and that's probably why they only release like the really popular games.
Yo, CJ Johnson, that was his name, right? San Andreas?
Yeah.
Yes.
CJ Johnson. I remember my CJ Johnson. He was really fat.
CJ.
I ate a lot of fried chicken. What was the outlet called? The fast food chain?
Oh man.
I couldn't tell you.
I just remember.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I remember at the drive-thru the guy used to always say, "Cluckety fuck, how can I help you?" or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess
Oh,
go on, Mark.
Well, no, just what's interesting to point out, like there's a number. I'm looking at the list. There's a number of games that were published by Sony. I'm a little surprised to see games that aren't on this list. Like, I'm surprised Gran Turismo 3 and 4.
That's
Neither
a good
of those
point.
has been put out there. Like, why aren't they putting first-party games that haven't been re-released at all in any capacity, but that sold extremely well? Like, the two of those, I'm pretty sure the top selling list for PlayStation 2 games. It's just kind of strange to not see them there, especially when we're still waiting on Sport. We don't really have a Gran Turismo on PS4 yet.
Right. I guess my argument personally is twofold. I mean, I appreciate the history and I want it to be maintained, which is, I think that's just good for the industry as a whole. It's good for consumers. It's good for everybody to have access to a lot of these older games and see kind of the legacy. So there's that. But also, from a business perspective, I think it presents an opportunity. And granted, I'm not a bean counter sitting behind the scenes. I don't know, how much does it cost to put these games out there versus how well are they doing? How many people are going on the PSN and downloading these titles? I don't know that. But I feel like with the increased time it takes nowadays to develop games, it's gone from like a year, maybe 2, to like dev cycles that last 4 or 5 years. With kind of the long periods of time in between big releases, I feel like these kinds of releases could fill that gap in between, throw out the small stuff in between.
Especially at the time we're in right now, we're in almost the end of July, we're in the summer, and usually summer is notorious for having a drought of releases.
Exactly.
Put out these games that just fill the gap between now and No Man's Sky. Give us something to play.
Right.
Until we get that big, game that comes out, and then after there's a little bit of time between that and whatever the hell else comes out, like put another PS2 game out.
And to be fair, the indie scene does cover that a bit, but I feel like having those occasional classic releases and slowly building that library gives me a reason to keep coming back, and then, oh, look, this new indie game is on sale, or, oh, I completely forgot this big game is coming out. It just helps cultivate the ecosystem.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Alright, Forrest Gump.
Folks, this has been SonyCentric, the Outerhaven's official PlayStation podcast. What do you think about PS2 classics on the PlayStation 4? Should we see more of them? Are you happy with what you got? Do you really like Grand Theft Auto? Do you love that CJ Johnson? Is your CJ Johnson skinny or is he fat? Does he eat a lot of fried chicken? Let us know in the comments, folks.
Yes.
And if you like this video, please hit that like button.
CJ Johnson is.
What was that, Mark?
Tell us how big your CJ Johnson is.
Yeah, how big is he? Does he got a beard? What kind of clothes does he wear? Mine was all suited up. Does he wear his colors? What was the gang called? The green. They wore the all green.
Oh, man.
I don't know. But just tell us about your Big Johnson. That's all I want to know.
Anyway, folks, like the video if you liked it. Hit that subscribe button below. Subscribe to our channel. Of course, you can always head back to www.theouterhaven.net to check out all of our written content, our reviews, our news, our editorials, our opinions. As always, folks, I'm your host, Jason Kwasnicki. You can hit me up at SolidQuas on Twitter. I was joined by our co-host Mark Sullivan at Nibelheimian and Delaila Lugo at Assassina-san. Peace out, Internet.
Later.
Peace.